Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
Isn't it such an irony that we are picking so much and engrossed so much into the debate on iPod over manifestos of candidates? And what do you read between the lines on the raging debate?
Well, you are not going to take away the debate on iPod. I'll tell you for a fact that all political parties in their budgetary planning had money from iPod in their plans. All of us, I will tell you for a fact. And there was a lot of hope and expectation that this money would be utilized, especially in the campaign processes. So absence of this money definitely has created some budgetary challenges in the different political parties. I'll tell you, for example, that we had expected that Section 14A of the Political Parties and Organizations Act would be followed to the letter. That requires monies to be shared equally in the campaign year, in the election year. The other day when we were in iPod in Kololo, I was telling my colleagues there that that's what the law says. And you know, the president was saying that he had been given a different legal opinion by the learned Attorney General, which I disagreed with. In the 10th Parliament, towards the end of the 10th Parliament, I was on record for having brought this matter on the floor. And the then Attorney General conceded and said it was erroneous for that money not to be shared equally in the election year. Obviously, I've always been a lone voice in as far as that provision is concerned, because, you know, the other parties, when it comes to equal share, they become very uncomfortable. How do they share equally with JEMA that has only one MP? But that's the law, and I was not there when it was being enacted. So I don't usually get support from my opposition colleagues. In the 11th Parliament, I have been raising the same. I used to sit with Honorable Brahia in the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. He knows that each time the Electoral Commission would come, I would raise that issue. So the fact that we were not able, you know, to get that money, and you know, people here forget that the amount of money that is included in the budget for political parties is actually discussed in iPod. That's why it is erroneously called iPod money. But in the actual sense, it is not iPod money. It is money appropriated by Parliament. But
you seem to reduce iPod to money. Money.
No, these days, because when we founded iPod in 2009, the issue of money was absent. In fact, for us, when we were joining iPod, it was purely for dialogue purposes. And you know very well that Mr. Museveni and the NRM rejected the idea of iPod. In fact, Mr. Museveni is on record to have said that there was no need for dialogue, that he had pacified the country, he couldn't sit with the opposition. So Mr. Museveni undermined iPod and was opposed to iPod in the initial stages. In fact, he joined iPod in 2018, the first time he attended iPod. He had been absent. That's why, you know, when he decided to come and some people wanted to walk away, I said, no, for me. Yes.
And his handlers, including Opondo, they kept saying, but the constitution is the dialogue.
Yes.
The elections every 5 years.
And there is a parliament.
Including this
yes.
MP for,
yes.
For all the people.
Okay. Has your dialogue in iPod replaced parliament in superiority?
No,
it has not. So
yes. You now think it is important.
So
I think that's why. No, we wanted to accommodate them. Was it wrong for you and Museveni to bend backwards? Because I remember when we started iPod, Honorable Migerko and myself,
yes,
were the ones sitting in iPod on behalf of NRM.
Yes. So I'm saying that it was good for them to appreciate the significance and the bigger picture in iPod. That's why when Mr. Museveni joined and some people were going away, I said I cannot go away. For me, Mr. Museveni found me in iPod. So I could not go away or boycott because he found me there.
So wouldn't you now applaud the National Unity Platform for seeing the light? Now they're knocking at the door.
You see, again, Simon, you've been accused of many things about NUP. I don't want you again to smallerize the issue. Please don't. NUP has all the legitimate rights to be in IPOD. And if you recall my speech in Kololo, and the last IPOD meeting, I said IPOD should be inclusive. Whoever has representation in parliament should be a member of IPOD.
So what's all this ping pong about?
I don't understand it, but I'll tell you, I'll give my own experience. JEMA has been in IPOD since its inception. We were out for 2 years, between 2016 and 2018, when we were not a parliamentary party. But in 2018, when we became a parliamentary party mid-term, we formally applied to join IPOD. It took us 4 months. Because you see, when you formally apply, the Council of Secretaries General seat processes your application and forwards it to the summit of the party leaders. And the summit makes the final decision. It is really as simple as that. So for us, it took us 4 months because it's not very easy to get summit, the leaders of the different political parties together.
Yeah, but man, I disagree with you there.
On what?
At that time, that was the arrangement. Now, IPOD is a statutory body. You become a member by law. They cannot subject you to non-existing conditions.
So even writing in itself is...
You shouldn't even write to anyone because the law says if you have representation in parliament,
yes,
you automatically
are a member of IPOD.
Yes.
Now I saw that Secretary General of IPOD saying you must write. Now they sit. That was the old arrangement when it was a private.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And I am not saying...
No, there is one who runs
Secretary General of...
there is a secretary. No,
so, Dr. Lawrence.
So are you saying the Secretary General of NUP wrote this letter seeking to join, applying to join and be accepted without, he didn't know the law?
No. The NUP letter was not an application. No, it was a notification.
No.
Yes.
We are joining. Yes. It says we are
So
it was a reminder.
No, if the law says must you remind the law that
Simon,
I am here.
No, because
I think let's put the record straight. The time we joined the IPOD, it was not part of the provisions in the Political Parties and Organizations Act. We joined the IPOD when it was a company. It had been registered as a company, and there was an MOU. The recent amendment in Parliament that conditions, for example, receiving money on being members of IPOD, I wrote a minority report on that because I was opposed to that. I was even opposed to the sharing, the percentages. Now, we had stayed in Nnyo because there were 2 bills that day, the UPDF bill and then the political parties. So I authored a minority report on that amendment in political parties. By the time we arrived at Parliament, our leader of opposition had guided that we move out. So I didn't have an opportunity to make a presentation on the floor, but it is on the record. So I really think, as far as I'm concerned, that there should be no obstacle. There must be no procedural obstacles for NUP. NUP should get into IPOD, just like another party.
By your own explanation here. You said it took you 4 months because the Secretary Generals of parties first sit.
Yes.
Then they make recommendation to the summit.
That was the old arrangement.
The older legal regime.
Isn't it the same arrangement now? Are you saying they just walk in?
No.
With the amendment, it's automatic.
With the amendment, once you have representation in Parliament, automatically you are a member. And what you should only do is to write to notify, because
which they have done.
Because even in its present form, there is freedom of entry and freedom of exit. So you have to express your willingness to enter. Because if you don't, and the law does not even create
No,
penalties.
but have you read the regulations that come, the guidelines that come from the Minister of Justice
The what? The what? No,
in the aftermath of enacting the law?
no, there are no guidelines that have been issued.
So
There are no guidelines that have
So
been
is the debate stemming from ambiguity about
Sorry?
the law and how to apply it?
I didn't get you.
Is the debate now revolving around the ambiguity of the law on how
No,
one enters?
between me and you, I don't know where the problem is coming from. I don't know.
First of all, the law was made specifically to exclude NOP. And NOP made a mistake by criminalizing iPod and its money. When they turn around that now want to be part of it, that's where the debate starts. The debate, they are the ones who had excluded themselves at the time this new arrangement was starting. I was in FDC. We walked out of iPod and we said iPod had become useless. I saw the FDC leaders here.
You call that a money?
Opondo.
Which eventually broke it.
So they walked back. I don't know whether they were letters that were written, but this particular law was made to exclude NOP. Even if, in fact, I don't know why they didn't see it. I'm not even, because why did they even have to write? Because even if now they write express interest, that they will tell them no, the council must sit, but Museveni is sick. Wait, when he recovers, we will come. So they will not allow them, because this was a political, as I said, especially this particular election. Make sure NUP has no money. Make sure they don't approach urban centers through the main road. So those two things will play out until this campaign is over.
It is not NRM which says NUP should not have money. NUP had 3 legs of looking for money. One is the government money via iPod.
Taxpayers' money.
Taxpayers' money. You
Yes.
can quote, but the government represents
From the National Consultative
Yes.
Forum.
This money.
They knew all along that they were getting this money, but when a conditionality was brought that if you don't participate, you will not get the money. Now, that's why I think the debate is raging with the sarcasm, because they seem to have written this in the hope that when they write, there's opportunity to be admitted and therefore money. So they are not joining.
Is it all about the money?
No, so they are not. I think in the cycle of NUP leaders, they're not joined. They didn't write in order to join to go for the dialogue with these guys. I think their priority is so that we access the money, which they don't understand. And why don't they have the money? Because the government is not giving that money. Secondly, with the coming of Trump, I think, the money that was being dropped around by the globalists, because remember, Trump's dictum over his foreign aid has affected the whole world, Europe and America and others. And these guys were getting their money mainly from Europe and America. And so the squeeze on those other foreigners who were giving no free money, and also their diaspora groups.
ID
Yes.
meant that the entire lobbyist industry.
Yes.
But Honorable Masalia,
so
don't
that's
you
something
feel
that's
awkward that the leading opposition is not?
Ofwono is revealing why they are holding on to money that is not theirs.
We are not holding on to money that is not ours. We are holding on to money. We are rationalizing. If you want to access public money, have a fair mind.
So you stifle them deliberately.
I think the lawyers here say, if you go to the Temple of Justice, go there with a clean pair of hands. NUP doesn't have clean pair of hands, and therefore they should not get the money. If they are not getting the money, they are not participating in genuine dialogue.
Don't you find it awkward that the leading opposition
if they are not participating
is
in
locked
genuine
out of
participating,
participating
so let them go and get their money
entity
from
as
foreigners.
critical as iPod?
Well, it's unfortunate. It shouldn't be happening. As a founder member of iPod, the spirit, as I said, was inclusion. It was never exclusion. So I think we should do whatever it takes to ensure that NUP and all others under IPOD framework.
What would it take to compel the Secretaries General to have dialogue and expedite this?
Well, I think it's incumbent now upon the chairperson of IPOD now. You know, it's rotational. The chairperson of IPOD now to ensure that the process is expedited. As I said, I find no reason, I find no justification whatsoever for keeping Nnyo out of IPOD. And cynically argues that, they are coming in for money. But let us assume it is so. What is wrong with it?
Leonard.
Yes. What is wrong with that?
Simon.
Yes.
Nnyo doesn't want dialogue. When they write we are coming, they say, no, wait. Now there are conditions.
Leonard.
Now, political absurdity and probably even stupidity comes to rendezvous with brinksmanship. Yeah. They should lie in their bed. They made their bed.
No, you said they are not interested.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I'm saying.
But the stupidity is on all sides.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying the strategy. The strategy. Nnyo should have better strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, they should lie in their bed.
Leonard, why would this become such a big thing in the politics of the day? Yet there are bigger issues that would actually inform or shape the discussion.
I think somehow we made all lose the point he was raising. There are three ways in which a political party like NUP can raise resources. One, internally from statutory sources, like IPOD now. Internally from members' contributions. Yeah, like the donation, the fundraising drive they had the other time. The third way is from external sources. Now he has already prosecuted the issue of external funding drying out. So external funding has dried out purely because of a radical change in American foreign policy. Yeah. Yes, even in the past, Republicans they are inward looking in their desire to make America number one, to keep it as the wealthiest and most prosperous nation. They are inward looking. Whereas the Democrats, are good sympathizers and supporters of globalists. Now, with the globalists, the main globalist organization being, erased from the face of, global politics and diplomacy, you find that political parties in quasi-democratic states like Uganda had to suffer. Let's not forget that before even this Trump thing comes about, we had the DGF also closing. Closed by President Museveni. Yeah, President Museveni closed the DGF because I think one of the reasons he gave was that Ugandans were not represented on its board.
It was not closed, they were chased.
Okay, yeah, I stand. Yeah, I stand corrected.
It was chased by Museveni.
Actually, why the president said we close DGF, we have our money internally.
Yes,
we can give political parties as public institution
which is
money from our taxpayers. Now, if which is okay. Which is okay.
Yes, provision of giving political parties money was put in the Political Parties and Organizations Act in 2005.
Yes.
No, but that has been Museveni's argument.
It was not even his argument.
Let me tell you.
It was by members of the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. Because government had proposed to restrict fundraising.
No, President Museveni.
It doesn't matter where the argument came from.
Has been a proponent that foreigners should not fund our politics.
Imperialists.
Yes, this has been his view.
And I think we all agree with him.
If Uganda can afford, the Ugandan taxpayers through their government should actually fund political parties.
Fund the government, but not fund
because we have better. Yes, we have better safeguards. As a government, as a state, we have better safeguards to know where is this money coming from, what is its purpose, and so on and so forth.
No, okay. Let me drive my point home. So, given the reduction in opportunities of getting foreign funding, and of course the roadblocks that have been put in place to prevent them from getting funds that are provided for in the statute books. So NUP found themselves with no choice. They had to eat their own words. Okay, and there is nothing wrong with that.
So they were beaten into a corner.
Yeah, they were boxed into a corner, and there is nothing wrong with them saying now we want to actually push back and claim what is rightfully ours. Now, the only thing you can fault NUP about this whole iPod issue is just to do with the way they played it. They should, like I told you, they should have gotten some people to start the conversation. Supporters.
You call them jesters?
Yeah? Jesters. Start the conversation.
Since you're a strategist, a political strategist, please offer them that.
They haven't reached out to me, so I cannot offer.
You can also go to them.
No.
From the way you talk. I think you are part of them.
No.
Okay.
When I talk and I'm favoring the
To what extent, Leonard, to what extent is the debate over iPod
No, it is
distracting the country from critical
It is a
issues?
misguided debate. We shouldn't be having it in the first place.
I'll come to you, Honorable Semuju. Do you think this matter of iPod is taking us away, taking the country away from critical issues in the presidential campaigns?
No, it doesn't. I have been invited to talk shows when we are discussing about other issues. If it emerges as one of the issues for discussion, I don't think it is wrong or it is illegitimate. And I have told you here...
Yeah, but there are groundbreaking issues that would be discussed.
What are the groundbreaking
Manifestos.
issues?
No.
You have been the moderator.
No,
you have been the moderator.
No, what we are looking at is, we are doing a reality check.
And you are the one who keeps bringing iPod.
We are doing a reality check. Unfortunately, the entire conversation around presidential campaigns has been dominated by iPod.
It was a distraction, the timing of no writing, but also what they had said about this money. Because you, the media, and you know all our training, people want to choose things that are new, that are unusual. Because if you attack a particular fund and then you seek to benefit from it, you're going to cause an unnecessary debate. And I agree with Ekijja that in political parties you need to have people who are going to sit down and think through many issues before you make a decision. So they should never have criminalized this money, because this money, as the writer I saw Rubongoya, this is not Museveni's money. He has not sold his cows. This money is taxpayers' money, and a decision was made in the parliament. At that time I was just covering a committee on legal and parliamentary affairs. Its background was that government was proposing, I'm not sure that it is 200 million, that you don't raise money beyond 200. Yeah, so when they brought it, the MPs were on the committee, I think the Ben Watchers, the late Medical Gua, Wanderogal and others. They say now that you have stopped parties from raising money from outside and you are fearing interference, let us now create a fund to run these parties, because these are public institutions. The trouble is that Museveni, as he usually does, he wants to take credit everything, including the sun raising it. Opondo will go on radio and say, you see, the sun has risen today because of Museveni. This was never... This was never...
because of the peace and the tranquility. Yeah.
This was never... So that's how this fund came in. When the Asman and others went to Nnyo and they asked Museveni, who has captured the Ugandan state, to increase the money, all of us, that time was an FDC, who were attacking them. You see, the dishonest on our part is what is causing this debate. So these ones risked their reputations, went into a meeting, they had a discussion, increased the money. Now us, we wanted to benefit after abusing them. So that's what needs to stop in our politics.
Does it strike you? Yes. Does it strike you just a second. Does it strike you, Honorable Semuju, that
Sling.
we are
is him.
getting to a
Who pulls the
moment
sling
where
most?
Chagulanyi will sit with President Museveni in the iPod arrangement, if it ever happens?
Oh, Museveni sitting. You see, I have said this many times. In Tanzania, the opposition will go to State House and have a discussion, a legitimate discussion with the president. I remember, I think under Chikwete, they wanted to change the constitution, and the delegation of opposition went to speak to Chikwete. In Kenya, they do it. But here, Museveni has become so bad that to be seen with him is like you have committed a crime. I remember, and Opondo knows it, when we are going to have a talk show with Museveni, I had declined. Until the moderator told me, Museveni will say that we have feared. He said, okay, now let me go. But as soon as a minister, a senior minister saw me in the State House, yet we had gone to record a talk show. My brother, thank you for seeing the light. That's what Migereko told me.
Is that the reason you declined to go to Guru? For the debate with the Sare?
No, I can't go because what office does Sare hold? At least Museveni I respect.
What office does he hold?
Okay.
What office?
Honorable Salino,
No,
do you
I
suffer
guess
the
which
pain
office
of
does he hold?
being
But you're debating with him.
So
of
has
being
a guest
misconceived
taken this
as
talk show to his,
being
to his compound?
a Museveni agent now, since you sit down with him? Do you suffer the same burden that you have to explain to the country that you sit with Museveni on the same iPod table and the whole country comes out to say, you've been bought?
Well, the sitting is in the public. There has never been an iPod meeting in State House. iPod Summit, we are in public places, whether we are in Kololo or we are in Munyonyo or Protea, in full view of the media.
But the perception is?
Well, you'll deal with the perception later, but these are public meetings. We go discuss. And what pains me most is what Ibra was talking about. For us who participate in these meetings and, we are perceived wrongly, we get the least amount. Yes, in fact, when Ibra was in FDC, for us we would go and make a case, okay? Because none of these people will tell you how money came from 10 billion to 45 billion. We're saying, but the 10 billion you are giving to parties is peanuts. And that's how it increased. And that's why they keep calling it iPod money. Because the discussions on the amounts happens in iPod. The discussion happens in iPod, not in Parliament, not even in the committees. Now, in 2000, Mr. Museveni came to Makerere to campaign for the referendum. I was guild president at that time. And he was booed. Now he got annoyed and ordered for the arrest of many students, Honorable Dongaoto and the others. They were badly beaten and taken to jail. But it was examination time.
I remember Marion Mutos.
Yes, Mary Mutes.
Mary.
It was examination time. So the Vice Chancellor called me, Professor Sevuf at that time. Said, Guild President, your people are in jail. We have to go and plead with the President. Otherwise they will miss exams, and with the semester system, they will be gone. I recall, I think it was Ruakana Rugunda was the Minister for the Presidency. Either Ruakana Rugunda or
goes into ping pong with the iPod Secretariat. There are quite a number of correspondences. Who is being intellectually dishonest? We'll be discussing this and more in the front line, and I'm joined by Honorable Asmani Basalirwa, President of the Justice Forum and Member of Parliament for Bugiri Municipality, Mr. Leonard Egesa, a self-proclaimed political strategist.
Who proclaims them?
Well, I thought he was an analyst, but he corrected and said he's a strategist. Honorable Ofwono Opondo, the NRM flag bearer for older persons from Eastern Uganda. He's a frontliner, together with Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda, Member of Parliament, Kira Municipality, and Chief of Party in the PFF. Good to have you all. Well, Chief of Staff. Chief of Staff, spokesperson, brand chief, right?
You see, when you're a president of Uganda, there are functions. Every function doesn't become a title.
Last time you reminded me.
I am chief of staff. My work includes speaking for the party, but also I am the brand master of the party. So those are just functions.
Well, good to have you all. Honorable Vasalirwa, lately you've been in the news. Of course, you suffered the wrath. You are among the casualties of the onslaught of the National Unity Platform. To what extent do the remarks of Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi while in Bugiri shape or define the trajectory of his campaigns?
Well, I would prefer really that you help me focus on more national issues and more substantive issues, more national issues.
Okay, one of the key ingredients of what has shaped the campaigns 3 weeks down the road is the campaign of maligning people. For instance, you've been branded as a sellout who should not be voted back to parliament. And it's been typical of several other rallies where a number of opposition members have been derided in the same sense. What does it mean?
Well, I think, Simon, in my case, I have been branded a sellout for very many years. In fact, when I contested for Guilty presidency in 2000 at Makerere, and I was eventually voted on the 17th of April 2000, those allegations were there. You know, the politics in our time, obviously some people have not outgrown it. We used to have what we would call malice and sabotage committee in Guilty politics. Now some of our colleagues have not outgrown that kind of politics. They want to, you know, to transfer it into national politics. That is really diversionary. I would prefer that presidential candidates and the panelists here focus on really substantive and national issues. I don't want to make, you know, Bobby Wine a topic anymore. He made an allegation, I responded, I have closed the chapter. I really don't want to make him an issue. Okay. Because he has his own challenges. So I would prefer that, you know, we let it pass. Don't, Haji Naduli would say, don't smallerize me to mean. So please, no. Let's focus on more serious issues. Okay.
But I think that's very critical. The tone, the messaging.
Politics is a contact sport. You can't run away from that fact. Being a contact sport, there are hardy tackles here and there. Even President Museveni has deployed that tactic. Yeah, like he says, they attacked him, he hit back, and he put the matter to rest. So I think...
Yeah, but could it be one of the defining key things in the 3 weeks of political campaigns? And what else are you seeing on the radar?
Well, first of all, if I were a presidential candidate, and I will assure you I will be, as long as I'm alive, inshallah, I would really be focusing on issues in my manifesto, issues that affect the country. Individualizing politics or politicizing individuals, in my view, would be a very secondary and peripheral issue. I know there are some people who thrive on blackmail, character assassination, and especially people who have had a history of celebrity life. You know, they take pride in, you know, Kuisa Mwegali. It's synonymous with people who are coming from a certain orientation. Now, for us who have been structured and programmed and trained through political processes, you know, Simon, when I came to Parliament, Honorable Chanjo sat me down the late for about 3 hours. And he was telling me the do's and don'ts in Parliament. That's why, for example, you will not find me having loans in Parliament. You know, he was telling me, if you cannot do things in the 25 million, even if you got 100 million, you will not do. So we had an opportunity to go through orientation of some of the best legislators in this country. We have grown through some of the best politicians in this country. So that's why we are different. And because we are different, we are not easily understood. Now, people coming from some orientations that, are not very clear and certain will begin, smallizing issues, to quote Haji Naduli. So I would prefer, Simon, that we focus on more national issues. And my message, by the way, to those seeking the highest offices in the country, please focus. Focus on the national issues. Focus on your agenda, what you plan to do for the country, and let people listen to you. If you don't do that, you'll be doing a very big disservice. And if you decide to go person, as my brother says, it's a contact sport, let it also be as a matter of principle. Okay? When you make a comment, don't make a pedestrian comment on an individual. Make a comment with further and better particulars, as we say in law. When you make a pedestrian statement, then you become a pedestrian. So for me, I want to look at it in that broader angle, in that broader sense. And as I say,
I feel your tone. You sound rattled.
By what?
The remarks of
By what? But as I said, don't take me there.
Simon, I think we shouldn't let the president of Justice Forum Party get away with the brush off. We say all politics is local. Yes. There's that phrase.
Yes.
I guess you know what it means. Now, let us look at Basalu's own background, immediate background to becoming an MP. And that's why I don't want us to let him run off.
Roped by.
Basalu had run for elections in Bujiri, I think twice.
Thrice.
And you had not been successful. This person from some background, celebrity background, you went and hired him. That was a hired gun. So you hired a gun, it came and shot some birds for you, and you entered parliament. I want to believe that you must have discussed his coming onto your campaign platform, certain expectations. None of us, at least I'm not privy to them, those expectations. I suspect that it is out of his frustration, disappointment, that probably you have not met those expectations.
Coupled, there is a fallout.
Yeah, coupled with probably how you walk these days and how you talk. They're saying he's now telling your voters who, in their view and in his own view, if he had not come onto your campaign, probably you wouldn't have succeeded. And so that's why he thinks, and he tells people publicly that you have been a letdown. You have used here the phrase a sellout. He thinks you are a letdown. So maybe, could you tell us what minimum agreement you had that he now concludes that you are a sellout?
Didn't that agreement have a confidentiality clause?
Well, if let him say so. Let him say so. But for him, just I don't agree with the. First of all, I don't consider Kyagulanyi much. Even when he has people following him, but many of you believed that was something, and that's why you brought him to your side.
You see, Simon, again at the risk of repeating myself, I really didn't want to go the OO way. But let me make two issues very clear. Bobby did not come to Bujiri out of the blue. Bobby came to Bujiri because I had been in Chadon. In fact, I was the only opposition political party leader who had openly gone to his campaigns in Chadon. The FDC political leader was not there. The UPC political leader was not there. The CP political leader was not there. The DP political leader was not there. It was Basalu. So I think that must be understood. That he came as a payback. It was not out of the blue. That's one. Number two, Oh, you know very well that I was not contesting in the Bugiri municipality before. I was contesting in Bukoli North constituency. So when this municipality was carved out, where, by the way, all those times that I was losing, in that particular municipality, I was always winning. So I would win in the municipality and lose in the rural areas because there's a lot of politics you do UNRM in those rural areas. So in that particular municipality, where you pass, by the way, you know that all the times I was contesting, I was winning it. Then I would lose in the... So when the opportunity came and the municipality was carved out, I said, this is now a God-given chance. My stronghold has now been made a constituency. And I had to go out about it. But 3, I want you to be very honest, and Ibra is there. You cannot count 10 best performing MPs in parliament and you leave Basalirwa out. You cannot. In fact, for the record in this...
Yeah, but in his judgment.
No, let me make my point. That's why I said, even if you are to engage in personal, attacks, they must be objective and principled. And I will come to that. So, in this 11th parliament, there is no member of parliament. There is no member of parliament who has brought more private members' bills Basalirwa. Is not there. So even if you are looking at legislative quality, you cannot wish away Basalirwa. So if you are telling people vote him out, okay?
Maybe it's not after legislative quality.
Yeah, but that's what
your contribution to the cause.
It could be similar to Bashir Kaziwe. Maybe you agreed to give him money. And you did not. And this was the story I hear about Bashir Kaziwe.
No, there was no agreement.
And many people, even in Nnyo, he's kicking them out. Even what, from the ordinary eye, we see as good legislators.
No, he's also kicking out to rebel MPs, just like your boss kicked
No,
out
I'm talking about good legislators, the quality Abbasar is talking about.
The question is leadership.
Pardon? Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe he's not after his priority area. Is not part of legislation that you are shaping.
That's why I said, when you make an accusation, make further and better particulars, so that we are in position to respond to you. When you don't do that, you do a disservice to the country.
You never met his expectations.
What were they? Do you know them? Do you know them? Because a member of parliament, how have you known Basalirwa? I have been a legal activist. One of my clients is there, Ibra here. All the times Ibra has been arrested, it is me who goes to court. I have not stopped. People I have been representing. That parliament, you see, I have a sizable number of MPs where I offer personal legal services.
Honorable Basalirwa, I will certainly get back to you. Leonard, what's your evaluation of the 3 weeks of the presidential campaigns?
Same question. I don't know why you are
It's quite fundamental. It's quite fundamental. It's one of the ingredients.
Maybe he's not interested in my answer. But before we go into that, but anyway, it is also part of what has been in the 3 weeks of the presidential campaign. Number one, politics is a contact sport. And in a contact sport, you do not choose the style that your opponent uses. So, for example, Honorable Basalirwa cannot decide how he gets attacked. That is a prerogative of the other side. So you don't choose the strategy that the other team uses. The team uses a strategy that it considers to be effective. Yeah. The other thing is, OO says that maybe the NUP presidential candidate is not interested in the quality of legislators that he used to ally with in the previous election. That could also be true. Like I said here, monkey see, monkey do. He's been groomed by the politics of NRM. President Museveni appeared in Jinja, what is now Jinja Southeast Division, that constituency which is being represented by Honorable Nathan Igeme Nabeta. He appeared there one time in a by-election campaign, and he said, even if you bring me people who sleep, as long as they wake up and vote, that is better Yeah. So at the end of the day, the NUP, like any other party, they are in this thing first for numbers. You are a presidential candidate, but you also want to get numbers in parliament. Number two, there is a bit of discipline. Yeah. So you cannot say that NRM can kick out rebel MPs, but NUP cannot kick out rebel MPs. Now the definition of rebel can vary from party to party. Yeah. So if rebel is defined as having your own independent mind and expressing it publicly, and yet it is contrary to what the party leadership or the party president believes, that so be it. That is how they define rebel MP.
Yeah, but in your assessment, what's been typical of the 3 weeks?
No, the 3 weeks, like I shared here before, the 3 weeks, you see, the NUP came with a certain frame of the NRM's way of doing political campaigns. They expected that it will be a fight between them and the security forces. Now, if you come with a certain template, you have framed your opponent in a certain way. You come to the field and you find the opponent has changed tact. Yeah, you become clueless, and at times you can actually get lost. So that is why people are saying the campaign is boring. People are saying the campaign needs some injection of tear gas. You have had this sentiment in the population. This is what they are used to. They are used to having these kind of things. Eh?
So NUP came with a template.
Yeah, they came with a template.
And they were outsmarted.
Now they need to go back. He has raised a very substantive issue, that they need to talk about national issues. So they had not anchored their presidential campaign on articulating issues, or in other words, driving the narrative that is going to shape their presidential campaign. So they came with a victim card. Yeah. Now, the victim card cannot apply when the aggressor, the assumed or the presumed aggressor, does not behave the way you expected them to behave. Yeah. So the moment that the aggressor pulls the sting out of the game, then you are lost. So they need to go back, have a proper strategy, craft their own narrative. Let me give you an example. I think you want us to talk about it later, but let me give you an example. This whole iPod issue, it demonstrated one thing, that the NUP lacks a strategic advisory team for their presidential campaign. Why would you allow such a thing to stick in the media? They would have diverted their attention a long time ago by bringing something different. Number two, even the way they did it, you don't just wake up and say...
So you think it's overshadowed even the little issues that...
The iPod issue has now overshadowed, so people are now accusing them of having run short of funds to run the presidential campaign. So what would they have done differently? If they had a strategy team, what they could have done is, first of all, the leadership does not come out to own such a sensitive issue, which is most likely going to backfire in most cases. People are going to say it is all about the money in iPod. Yeah. So what you do, you get a court jester. The politics of getting court jesters is not new. Even President Museveni has used it countless times. When he says he wants to change age limit, he does not start the conversation, or he does not tell his Secretary General to write to the party whip in Parliament. No. What he does, he gets one person who behaves like a jester. A mudingidi in Uganda, that's what they call it, a mudingidi. So a person goes and kneels down and starts saying, no, this man must die in power. This man should be here. So you get such people. They come and introduce the topic. In fact, if the NUP, for instance, had got some young people, they go to Kavule and say, no, we want to get that money from iPod. Yep. Get it from there, distribute it to us.
Why would you focus on the National Unity Platform specifically?
No, because
there are 8 players in the race.
I've already told you there are some who are inconsequential. They are gig candidates. I cannot donate my time to gig candidates. We are talking about contenders. You have 2 contenders. The race has been binarized. There are 2 contenders. You have the candidate of the NRM, the incumbent, yeah, and you have the NUP
so
candidate.
So how is the NRM candidate doing?
The NRM candidate is business as usual. I don't expect them to change. I mean, for him, he knows this is his exercise. He's managing. He knows he will be announced winner. So I don't see why I should even spend my time on him.
In your analysis, what have been the highs, lows, and surprises in the 3 weeks?
Well, remember that 3 weeks ago, presidential candidates, through their agents, in a meeting convened by the Electoral Commission, harmonize their programs.
Right.
To the best of my observation, most of the candidates, starting with the NRM candidate, Yoweri Museveni, we have tried to stick to that program. So far, there is no single public meeting, you call them campaign rallies, that we have missed on account of failing to meet our timeline. Two, we have not had any obstruction, whether from a natural cause or otherwise, we have not had. We had done meticulous planning and said our campaign this time round is going to be anchored on the party structure, the secretariat, the district, the sub-counties, the parishes, and the village committees. Previously, you remember, we used to announce something we call the National Task Force in Kampala. This time we don't have it. That, in my view, so far...
Which team is Chigongo leading?
Chigongo is the national vice chairperson. He doesn't lead any team at all.
I thought he's head of the campaign.
No. The heads of the campaigns are done by the districts, district committees of NRM. The district committees of NRM will have what we call the mainstream. And then we have 8 leagues: veterans, historicals, workers, women, youth, PWD, elders. Those are the ones that do the mobilization. So far in our assessment, our meetings, our public meetings, the presidential public meetings, have been well attended. Well attended by the local NRM supporters and members of the public who are curious to hear what is this candidate coming to tell us this time round. Well attended by new voters. They are being supported by the national infrastructure. That's why you have seen 3 people who are constant, particularly now in the northern region, because they come from that side. The Secretary General, Honorable Richard Todwong, Hamson Oboa, the government chief whip, and also our national vice chairperson for northern region, and the Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Anita Among. They have been a constant. 4, there's another group. The other national leaders, but from different regions. You have seen the chairman of Western Region, you have seen the chairman of the leagues, and then the 5th category, the parliamentary flag bearers. Parliamentary flag bearers because parliamentary flag bearers are high flyers. They are visible. If you have Opondo, who people have been hearing on radio and watching on TV, but is in Amolata. When Todwong says we have Opondo, the crowd surges. They want to see, they crane their neck. They want to see this. Yeah, they want to see. So yeah, it's a crowd puller. So you bring those. So our meetings generally have been well attended. I think beyond our own expectations.
So what is the extraordinary so far?
What's extraordinary?
Yeah, what do you find extraordinary in this?
Yeah, the style of the campaign, particularly these young leaders of the NRM, the Todwong group. Those are, in my view, I call them young because they are like 10 years younger than me, 12 years younger than me, 15, many of them are 15 years younger than me. They have injected in new energy. This is the first campaign you see that those leaders are there holding hands, and it is more like a rumba, politics mixed with the rumba. You see they are trying to energize the group you say have been giving us trouble, the young people. You see them. I think for me, that's captivating. I think we are now capturing that ground. I hope we are going to be able, starting from November, once members of parliament have been nominated, the candidates have been nominated, we are going to hold the ground, run with that crowd to the finishing line. So for me, that's a new element. The other element I see, you don't see obvious splashing of soft money. You see logistics, yes. You see tents, you see the platform well done, well decorated and so on, which should be done if you have resources. You see the crowd, but you don't see petty spreading of cash at the presidential campaign, which was not, is unlike before. Unlike before, we used to, by now you would have had accusation of somebody somebody has eaten our money, somebody who slept in the lodge and the money meant for logistics was stolen from them. I have not seen that. So I want to credit the team. For us who are getting older and we are watching from a distance, I think they're doing much better than us.
What are you eavesdropping from the rival camp?
The rival camps, and I want to tie that with him, particularly the person he says and the third candidate, you know, they have been belligerent. Enough people, Chagulanji's people. I had expected that the group from FDC, the old FDC, they now have a new FDC. I think they had been built to come with belligerence. Once the state prevailed over and said, no, police, intelligence, the army, don't have open-chest confrontation with these guys. Maybe close one eye, even when they're on the street, close one eye, let them pass, because after all, they will not be on the street endlessly. They will be there for 15 minutes. Why? Because they have 4 other rallies to attend. So they can only be on the street for about 30 minutes maximum. And I think that has denied that group that had come with the belligerence, with the bellicosity, we are going to fight. And because of that, we have denied them the media headlines, even from you, the gullible journalists and the gullible media houses. We have denied them the headlines. Esasamaza.
Yeah, but you would give it to them. Even with the blockades, they are able to raise huge crowds.
I am saying, I think that, and I hope you police officers, Mr. Byakagaba, maintain that posture. Maintain that posture. We deny these guys unnecessary headlines and also sympathy. You remember, even NRM people, when NRM people, the reasonable NRM members, when they sit in their sitting room and they are watching TV, they are watching their TV news, and they see police having rough tackle with these young people, particularly these young people who are actually our children, many of them are at the age of our children. They say, but are these NRM people reasonable? Because they see us as the people in charge of the security. Now, when a policeman does even their own mistake, you cannot divorce that police mistake or policing mistake from the NRM.
Thank you.
And so I think that's something new.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju, do you feel astonished by the level of compliance that opposition candidates...
Are going for personal attacks.
that opposition candidates have really demonstrated over the 3 weeks?
When you're competing with a mafia like a group, like NRM, you will need briefing and debriefing almost daily. The NRM, Mr. Museveni and his group, decided how this campaign should run. First, the opposition and mainly the Honorable Kyagulanyi and his group must not have money at all. That's why very quickly they brought a law in Parliament and said even the money they're entitled to under the law, remove it. But I am also told they have deployed people all over the world to ensure that even Ugandans who are making a contribution, they don't make that contribution. I was in South Sudan. We had gone for a parliamentary program. And I met there Ugandans who are raising money for National Unity Platform. They told me actually in the market that we are raising money monthly. They have made sure that money doesn't flow. I'm told that even if you are coming with $1,000 in a bag, they must follow you to your residence to ensure that that money is for nyanya, not for campaign. So make sure they don't have money. That is one. Two, make sure they don't pass and use the main roads leading to the main trading centers, areas that are highly habited. Restrict them to peripheral roads where they are almost meeting nobody, where there is no traffic, and then slowly walk them to the venue of their rally. I have told the people here, 2016, I was in charge of Dr. Besigye's nomination. We spent 4 hours walking from Nambole, and our rally, nomination rally was in Nakivubo. They told Kyagulanyi, you can't have a rally in Katwe. They took him far away in Natete, not even Natete itself, away from Natete, and they are leading you there. But also remember, I don't want to forget that Museveni had just concluded his first phase of the campaign under PDM. He had reached everything. So Museveni and his group sat down, crafted the sort of campaign, and I want the risk of repeating myself, because Museveni now officially is 81 years old. There is things that an 80-year-old man cannot do. I am told the reason he even repeats his own speeches, he moves with the screens, 2 of them huge. At some rallies, they first play a speech of the previous day, and then he makes few remarks. What Opondo thinks is a tactic, it is being conditioned by the biological inadequacies. You can't have an 80. In Africa, it is common. I saw people in Cameroon walking a beer to go and pick, yes, but they are walking him like a toddler to go and pick nomination forms. And in NRM, it is typical. I saw them sponsoring Moses Ari to go and become an MP. Immediately, he completes NRM campaigns, is in Germany for treatment. But they know how they deal with their old people. So they don't want to stretch them. So this particular campaign was made to suit Museveni's biological limitations, but also to fit his lack of popularity. Because Museveni as a person, he fears crowds. You go back and read Onapito's book. In the middle of the night, he's calling Onapito, why is my crowd? I've told you, I was in Makerere doing journalism. And Museveni took journalists to a press conference to say he had a bigger nomination crowd than Semoge. He even came with a footy ruler. He said, I had measured the Kororo. One person fits, this footy ruler is the size of a person. So I had 2 million at my nomination.
Just a second. Opondo was at the secretariat then. Is this true?
No, he wasn't at the secretariat. He was
at the secretariat.
96, you are still New Vision.
I was.
Yeah.
No, but Semuju is now changing the story. You remember, Semuju is one who has been on these shows here, saying Museveni was too old to do rallies. He even peddled here that Museveni was going to change the constitution so that parliament votes.
I have never said that.
You have been you and Miriam Matembe here.
Because I fairly know Museveni.
Now Museveni drives actually for on average 40 kilometers. If you look at those districts, yes, 40. Yeah. 40 kilometers. No, look at these districts. For example, we did the districts of. But Nebi,
you are diverting me.
Nebi, listen, Nebi and Zombo on one day. At 11, Museveni is in Nebi.
Museveni is young.
I'm not saying he's young. I am saying Museveni has now disproved you because he's able to do public rallies.
Okay.
2 of them every day, or even 3, which you did not believe he would do.
That's incredible, isn't it?
So when they were assembling, when they assembling a team and a program, initially he wanted to address only 50 rallies. Because, and this is obvious, we all have our parents who have grown old. But I don't want to lose the main, I don't want to lose
What was
I
true?
don't want to lose the main point.
Are you now the one who are changing this program so that he does it too?
And allow Ofwono
In addition to state duties.
and allow Opondo to smolarize. Because the issues of Opondo must be answering is not answering. It's now smolarizing very serious issues that you are competing with a person, but you are leading him to the bushes. I saw Kyagulanyi in Kaseke, in Kasana, for 2 hours pushing a vehicle which was stuck. But the main road, as I said, was there with no traffic. So that is the tactic that they agreed. Make sure they don't approach the main trading centers using the main road.
And they complied.
That's why I said at the beginning that when you're competing against M7, you need briefing and debriefing. Why? If you don't comply, you may do 10% of the districts. And you can give them credit because you need to make a choice. They have said you will pass here, they have deployed, they met police, they met ESO, they gave them instructions. Make sure they don't do this. And you know, in Africa, even to campaign against these African dictators, it itself looks like a favor. In Tanzania, the competitor is in jail, his party is banned. So, and I was in Dar es Salaam recently. The only posters that are in Dar es Salaam are for Samia. So if you want to compete, because there is a value that you will extract by participation. I am not one of those who believe in boycotting, because that's the only option available. Either, if you want to campaign, you must know the traps they are laying for you. If you fall in those traps, and that's why you saw day one, I think day 3 of the campaign, police has a press conference. Here, Kyagulanyi, his vehicle was about to knock a pedestrian. Here, the vehicle, his camera was about to knock a cow. And I said police, and that's how you're policing campaigns, because campaign is supposed to be a very exciting event. I have told people here, Nambole is my neighbor. I stay not far from Nambole. When people are going to watch football, you will see the excitement on the road. But you cannot say a big exercise like a presidential campaign. You must make sure there is no excitement, because that's a tactic. So Opondo thinks he wants to blame the victim.
As we take a break,
So,
journalistically speaking, where is the headline so far in the 3 weeks?
it also depends, because when I was deploying journalists at the Observer, where I once worked as a political editor, we made a plan and we said, you see, at very early, pick the issues that presidential candidates are outlining, and then make sure that you interview the people to establish if they have understood. Because it's not that they don't say these things, but it depends, because some journalists will go. One time we sent a journalist to go and cover an event. He came back and said the minister was not there. I was still working at Mondo. And I told him, guy, if the function has failed because of him, for me that's the story, bring it. You cannot tell me that the minister was not there, therefore you don't have a story. It depends on the knowledge and experience of the journalist. Because presidential campaigns are not just about the speeches. They're also about these restrictions. Go and profile them, the compliance with the law. In 2006, the M7 campaign chased our journalists. That time, as I said, I was working at Observer. At the left, I was at Observer. And we had instructed them to look at the compliance, who is complying with the law. In Nirira, where we had Taire Idweg, who was an MP, he had now become a DPC. So he stopped West Jezerare at 6, that it is past time. And Museveni came 2 days later and addressed Terare up to around 8. So Benon Oluka was journalist asked Taire Odwege, but you stopped Terare the other day. So when Museveni came, they dropped Oluka in Nakasongo and chased him. So when you see these ones, this Ofwono Opondo here chasing the media, they even want a blackout. They have chased some media houses, they are not covering Museveni. They want publicity, but they would rather there is no publicity at all. The Museveni, I know, who sends an helicopter to pick newspapers in Kampala every day.
I beg we continue on that very note. We'll take a very short break.